Now on Coast TV News.
Winds whipping in Fenwick Island. The gusts continue up and down our coast as we are hours after the morning high tide and are now bracing for what happens this afternoon.
Good Monday morning, Delmarva. It's been a rough 24 hours along the coast with wind, rain, and coastal flooding. We are bracing for another round of major coastal flooding this afternoon. We'll time it out and when this nor'easter exits.
Rescue readiness.
But we are ready to serve in any capacity.
We look at the responders who are prepared to take action in an emergency situation.
Road worries. We are live on the roads and we'll have the latest on the amount of flooding taking place.
This is Coast TV News Today.
Here's Ocean City earlier this morning. What we are seeing here is about an hour after high tide. The waves in the lower part of your screen were creeping up on the beach and under the pier. The next high tide is at 2:25 this afternoon.
So that was then. This is now. This is live happening in Ocean City. Rough waves continuing to hit the beach as we continue to make our way through this coastal storm. And welcome to our 6 o'clock hour. It is Monday, October 13th, 2025. I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us as we continue to update on the current situation on our coast.
Yeah, we're going to have a live report in a moment. There was a fire, big fire in Dewey Beach. Our Brandon Ferguson is live on the scene, so you want to stick around for that.
But first, we're going to bring in First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobuono, who has been busy this morning. Chris, what's the latest update?
Good morning, Elisa and Matt. Well, we are dealing with still some pretty gusty winds at the coast. We had gusts upwards of 57 miles an hour through the overnight as we continue to see some tremendous wave action erode our coast. We're seeing waves upwards of 7 to as high as 13 feet. And you can see peak wind gusts, Indian River Inlet, 57 miles an hour. South Bethany, 55. Lewis, we had a 52 mile an hour wind gust there. Dewey, 48. Georgetown picked up a wind gust of 46 miles an hour. And we saw a gust of 42 Indian River Inlet. The good news is the highest winds are behind us, and the other good news is the heaviest rain is behind us. We saw about just shy of 2 inches there in Harbison, Stockley, just a little over an inch and a half. Dagsboro 1.26 there, and just over an inch in Georgetown and Ellendale. We were just shy of an inch in Lewis. We had some misty conditions and some light showers through the overnight, and we're seeing winds right now still gusting upwards of 34 Indian River Inlet, 29 in Georgetown, and 25 as sees that wind flow out of the north. Temperatures were at 59 in Milton, 60 Bethany Beach, 58 Gumboro, and 58 in Salisbury. The rain we saw overnight has winded down and pushed to our north, but we will see a few of these showers kind of pivot through the region with this large counterclockwise flow around this area of high pressure just to our east, and that low pressure system really isn't going to budge here all that much over the next 24 hours. So expect a lot of clouds today with on and off showers. Not going to be a complete washout of a day, but we're going to continue to be very damp through the day today. Also watching for that moderate to major risk of coastal flooding through high tide this afternoon. We'll finally say so long to this nor'easter by Tuesday with on and off showers, misty conditions, and we'll finally see the sunshine return by mid to late week. We'll talk about some very nice weather by Thursday and Friday coming up in that 7-day forecast. Elisa.
All right, thank you, Chris. And we are now taking a live look at 5 Points in Lewis. This is one of the busiest intersections on the coast. This is where Route 1 meets with Route 9. This is video we got just moments ago from that area. We see more cars out this morning than we saw earlier in the hour.
And strong gusts have been the story since this entire system started, and now we're getting reports that may have played a role in a very large fire this morning in Dewey Beach.
Several crews got to the call early this morning as they worked to get that situation under control, and we're going to bring in our news reporter, Brandon Ferguson, who's on the scene. Good morning,
Brandon.
Matt
and Elisa. We are here on the end of Carolina Street. And if you follow me this way and take a look down, where those lights are, that is where this house caught on fire, according to Dewey Beach Police. This happened earlier this morning, and that house is fully engulfed, as well as others near it have been involved in this fire. And we are actually going to show you some images and videos from a better angle of what this house fire looked like. You can see the entire house absolutely, a lot of fire damage in result of this fire here on Carolina Street. Dewey Beach Police said this happened earlier this morning. And again, no injuries were the result of this fire. And again, look at what we're seeing here from the scene. It was a lot more active here about 30 minutes ago when we arrived. A lot of the response clearing out now, but you can still see about a group of 10 to 20 firefighters here at the end of Carolina Street. Again, no injuries here in Dewey Beach. Police said the fire was cleared up by 5 a.m. as they continue to look into the calls. Live in Dewey Beach, Brandon Ferguson, Coast TV News.
Thank you for that live report, Brandon. New this morning, emergency crews in Sussex County were called to assist with a medical emergency Sunday afternoon. This was in a flooded area of Potnet's Cove side. The Indian River Volunteer Fire Company says they used 2 high-water utility vehicles to help the Middle Sussex Rescue Squad and Sussex County paramedics reach a patient who's in trouble because of that flooding. And to learn how the department says the utility vehicles serve the community, you can head to our article. It's found on CoastTV.com.
In Dewey Beach, here's what the area looked like at the first high tide on Sunday afternoon. As you can see, some back roads in town were almost invisible due to severe flooding. This is at Reed Avenue. Water overflowing in the background forced cars to turn around.
In case anyone does get stuck due to flooding, rescue crews are on the standby in Lewis. This includes members of the Lewis Fire Department, the National Guard, and other rescue teams, including from Newcastle County. They have equipment on the floor, vehicles ready at a moment's notice, and even boats in case they get through by car. Bob Murray's the deputy chief of the Lewis Fire Department, and he says the agency is prepared for any emergency.
But we are ready to serve in any capacity possible within a matter of a few minutes' notice.
And according to Murray, crews are expected to reassess conditions in just a couple of hours. We're looking probably about 11 a.m. for that.
And because of the storm, Lewis says trash services will be delayed. According to the city, there will be no trash pickup today. Pickups that usually happen on Monday will be moved to Tuesday, and Tuesday's pickups will be moved to Wednesday. The city says there will be no leaf pickup on Wednesday, October 15th.
Also in Lewis, people who have personal items on the beach or the dunes, they're being asked to remove them, and that includes chairs, dock, boxes, kayaks. The city always asks people to do this at this time of the year, and anything left behind will be kept at Lewis's maintenance yard and then discarded by Halloween.
With the severe weather and flooding across Delmarva, some students will be staying home today. All campuses of Sussex Academy will be closed today because of high winds, ongoing coastal flooding, according to school administrators. The Indian River School District has also announced a full closure of schools, though 12-month employees, excluding those working under teacher contracts, are expected to report at their regular time. Worcester County schools are delayed by 1 hour this morning, and you can also keep an eye on the bottom of your screen as there will be ongoing updates for more closings and delays.
New overnight, cheer centers across Sussex County are adjusting to the weather conditions. According to the organization, all senior activity centers will operate as normal today. However, there's not transportation to the centers in Roxana or Ocean View, and there's only transportation to the Lewis Cheer Center if roads allow. And this just in, after more than 700 days, Israeli hostages held by Hamas, now back in Israel, back with family, and they're safe. First phase of President Trump's peace plan is underway. As
NBC's Alice Barr shows us, President Trump is in Israel to speak to that country's governing body before heading to Egypt and a peace summit.
An extraordinary scene this morning in the Middle East. Israeli hostages held for 2 years in darkness and deprivation in Gaza, finally re-emerging, transferred by the Red Cross to be reunited with their families. In Tel Aviv's Hostage Square, Israelis cheering the moment they have prayed and protested for and chanting "Thank you, Trump," as President Trump arrived in Israel to celebrate the peace deal he brokered, declaring on Air Force One,
"The war is over. The war is over."
Yet hours earlier, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned the military campaign is not over. Israel and Hamas have so far agreed to phase 1 of President Trump's 20-point plan, the exchange of hostages for Palestinian prisoners while the fighting pauses. Israeli forces pull back to new lines within Gaza, and desperately needed aid flows in. But thornier questions remain about Hamas disarming and leaving power, and how to govern and rebuild Gaza as Palestinians flood back to whatever remains of their homes.
They're going to have to start by removing a lot of the structures that you see that are down to the ground. I mean, it's blasted. This is like a demolition site.
For now, though, an emotional release and rejoicing. This mother speaking to her hostage son, who is finally coming home to her, as President Trump prepares for a peace ceremony in Egypt, marking a major diplomatic achievement and long-sought relief after 2 years of devastating war. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
New this morning, runway construction and airline updates are on the agenda for the Wicomico County Airport Commission meeting today. According to the agenda, Breeze Airways' inaugural flight was a major success, leaders say. Cost concerns linked to runway project delays are being reviewed, and an area with unsuitable soil has now been stabilized and successfully rebuilt. More information on these topics and others will take place at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Happening tonight, Washington back home. They're in the Beltway, and look who is paying a visit. It is the Bears. Washington fans, I'm sure they remember the last time these two teams played, because this is what happened. Jaden Daniels scrambling around and then finally firing. It's a Hail Mary touchdown, and this is the spark to a run for Washington that ended in the NFC Championship game. Kickoff tonight is at 8:15. More on this game later on Coast TV News Today.
And we're just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News Today.
Yeah, coming up, facial hair to help the homeless. We'll show you how a competition in Ocean City showcased fancy styles, and this raised thousands of dollars.
Also, bolts away from Bowers will tell you what you need to know about the evacuation and where to find shelter.
And resurfacing to regain accreditation. What Salisbury Zoo is doing to strengthen their case. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
Good Monday morning, Delmarva. Pack the patience and take your time out there on the roads this morning. We're seeing a lot of flooded streets and neighborhoods in and across the coastal areas. We're at 61 in Ocean City. Winds are out of the north, sustained at about 15 to 25 miles an hour, still gusting upwards of 25 to 32 in Indian River Inlet, 25 in Georgetown. Temperatures were at 60 in Rehoboth, 59 in Long Neck, 58 in Seaford, and 57 in Milford. We had some misty conditions this morning, some light showers, and those have since dissipated and lifted off to the north. You can see most of the rain is extending from southeastern PA through New Jersey up through New England as this nor'easter just kind of sits just to our east, and it's going to continue to kind of spin moisture into our area throughout the day today and into the evening. So no sun today, unfortunately. We're going to be dealing with a lot of cloud cover, breezy conditions, gusts upwards of 35-40 with, again, on and off showers as we go into the afternoon through the early evening hours. We're bracing for another round of some moderate to major flooding at the coast through high tide this afternoon with those wraparound showers. We'll see a few morning showers Tuesday, otherwise another cloudy day as this nor'easter will then weaken, exit, and we'll finally see clearing skies by late Tuesday into Wednesday, and that's going to allow for sunnier conditions by mid to late week and the return of some pretty cool temperatures. We'll talk more about that coming up later on in the forecast. Elisa.
Thank you, Chris. In Millsboro, a 3-car crash led to multiple injuries on Saturday evening. This is on Route 24 near Heritage Lane. Indian River volunteer firefighters, along with multiple EMS units and Sussex County paramedics, say they arrived to find a blue Chevrolet Trax had collided with a Honda Pilot and a BMW X3, leaving significant damage. The highway was shut down as crews cleared debris and investigators worked on the scene. That cause is still unclear at this time.
Across Delmarva, the Salisbury Zoo is making upgrades as part of its push to regain national accreditation. The zoo will close from today through Wednesday. This is for resurfacing of pathways across the grounds. And zoo officials say the project is designed to improve safety, enhance accessibility for strollers and wheelchairs, and that the work is part of their larger plan to regain accreditation from the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. Salisbury Zoo is set to reopen on October 16th, weather permitting.
President Donald Trump said he will impose an additional 100% tariff on Chinese exports to the United States. That's on top of the existing 30% tariff already in effect. In a Truth Social post Friday, Trump said the tariffs will take effect November 1st or sooner. Trump's actions are in response to China ramping up export controls on critical rare earth materials, which are needed to produce many electronics.
Another flight test for a SpaceX Starship could launch, and it could launch as soon as tonight if conditions allow. The launch window opens at 6:15 Central Time, and this is the 11th flight test of this super heavy booster. Starship is the largest rocket system ever constructed, but parts of the vehicle have failed dramatically in 6 of its 10 test flights so far.
Well, it is a damp and breezy start to our Monday. We're still dealing with some flooded streets and neighborhoods in and across the coastal areas. We're dealing with, well, another round of coastal flooding this afternoon. Could be moderate to major through high tide. We'll talk about that and when all this mess will be out of here when CoastTV News Today comes right back.
Time is 6:20. Here's a live look at Lewis, and on the right of this shot here, this is a live shot at the Roosevelt Inlet. You see that flagpole. Now, normally there would be flags on that pole. They're not there this morning, Chris, but if they were, I'm sure we'd get an indication of how strong the wind is.
Oh yeah, we've seen some very strong winds at the coast over the last 24 hours with gusts upwards of 57 to 55 miles an hour. Still quite breezy this morning. We're seeing gusts upwards of 32 Indian River Inlet, 25 in Ocean City, 29 in Georgetown, and 26 in Salisbury. Temperature-wise, holding steady, upper 50s, 57 there in Milford, 58 Georgetown to 60 in Bethany Beach. Seeing some fog, some low clouds, very misty out there, especially across portions of Sussex County as well as down through Ocean City. We had a round of some light rain and wind-driven mist earlier overnight, but we are seeing most of that rain shift to the north as this coastal low just parks itself right off the Delmarva coast here, and you can see all that moisture being pulled in off the Atlantic and thrown up into the northeast. You could see wave heights anywhere from 16 feet off the Jersey coast to 9 to 10 feet off our coast. We're seeing more of a northerly wind at this hour, so that's allowing for some slightly calmer waves at the coast. Coastal flood warnings, though, continue for coastal Kent and Sussex counties. This is up through 8 o'clock tonight. Gale warning continues through Tuesday, 6 o'clock. Coastal flood warnings also for Accomack, Northampton, Worcester counties. Those run through 8 a.m. this morning. And then we also have gale warnings up as well. Now, on the bay side, some minor flooding is possible. Coastal flood advisories for Dorchester, Somerset, Wacomico, as we see more of a northerly wind into Tuesday morning. So moderate to major coastal flooding is possible through high tide cycle this afternoon. We see more of a northerly wind, so that's why we're seeing more of a moderate to major threat this afternoon. With high tide, Bowers Beach 318, Lewis 238, Indian River Inlet 252, and then Ocean City, where we expect some minor flooding there, 224. Plenty of clouds today, low clouds, areas of drizzle, mist, and spotty showers through the afternoon, with those winds gusting still 30 to 40 miles an hour through about midday. And then you see more of that north to northwest wind kicking in this afternoon, gusts upwards of 30 miles an hour. And then as that low pushes further to the east, we'll see the wind shift back to the north-northeast, with gusts tomorrow morning at the coast upwards of 30, 35 miles an hour. And then the wind will really begin to shut off as we go into the day on Wednesday. As far as rain is concerned, not a big threat. We'll see a few wraparound showers and spotty drizzle through the evening and into the overnight. So we wake up tomorrow morning, there's areas of drizzle, it's damp, the rain is not all that heavy, and then we'll dry out through Tuesday afternoon. And then the cloud deck will finally begin to exit, I think, late Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning, and we welcome back sunshine by Wednesday afternoon. We'll squeeze out another 1/4 of an inch here over the next 24 hours with some wraparound moisture. Maybe we squeeze out upwards of maybe 1/2 inch upwards of Kent County, but there's that area of low pressure weakens, pushes to the east, high pressure builds in by late week, and we're going to be rewarded with some pretty nice weather by Wednesday. 64 on and off showers. We're breezy with gusts upwards of 40 miles an hour. We're at 56 overnight with spotty showers. A few morning showers and sprinkles Tuesday. Otherwise, it's another cloudy day, but we dry things out. By Wednesday, we're up to 71 degrees with mostly sunny skies, and that sunshine is going to last right through the week and into the weekend, and we begin Friday with temperatures in the 30s. Matt.
Thank you, Chris. This was the scene in Bowers after a voluntary evacuation notice on Sunday. Now, some water on back roads. The fire company says they did not have to make any rescues, thankfully, but they are staying alert there.
Safety comes first, not just for our community and surrounding areas, but for ourselves as well. But we're here in case anybody needs us.
And those who choose to evacuate in Bowers could shelter at the Magnolia Fire Company.
Up next on CoastTV News Today, facial hair to help the homeless. We'll show you the competition to raise money for that important cause along the coast. We'll be right back. All types of beards and mustaches came together for the 8th annual Beard and Mustache Competition in Ocean City. The Bearded Men's Society of Ocean City, a local nonprofit, hosted the event for the homeless on the Lower Eastern Shore. And they're also making strides against breast cancer, causes that have personally affected many in the group. Money was being raised as the hair competition got underway, featuring a variety of categories so anyone could join in.
Helped out at National Kidney Foundation at Cape Henlopen State Park up in Salisbury. So wherever we can, we're beards, beers, and volunteers. So if somebody needs our help, they call, we can get as many club members together, we go and help out.
Members say they plan to split the thousands of dollars that were raised evenly between both organizations. Well, coastal flooding is hitting our area hard this morning, and Chris is busy. A lot of weather going on.
Yeah, you got the coastal flooding, you got the gusts, you have the rain, and Chris, as Elisa said, it's kept you and the team doing a great job. Very busy, though, over the last several hours.
Yeah, this nor'easter is hanging on with us for at least another 24 hours, but the good news is the strongest winds and the heaviest rain is behind us, but we do have another round of some tidal flooding to get to here this afternoon. We're at 59 degrees in Lewis. We've had some low-level moisture, some spotty mist this morning. You can see wave heights. Here's our area of low pressure just to the southeast of the Jersey coast. Wave height 16 feet off the Jersey coast, anywhere between about 9 to 12 feet off the coast here on Delmarva. Coastal flood warnings do continue for coastal Kent and Sussex counties. This runs through 8 o'clock tonight, as well as up through 8 a.m. Through the south there, through Accomack and Worcester counties. Gale warnings are up through the entire coast. And then here is high tide coming in this afternoon. Bowers Beach expecting moderate to major flooding in those areas through Lewis 238, Indian River Inlet 252, and we're at Ocean City Inlet at 224. So we'll talk more about that, as well as when the sunshine is going to finally make a return to the area. That's all coming up a little bit later on the next half hour. Elisa.
Thank you, Chris. And after the break on Coast TV News today, assessing airport conditions. We'll give you an update from the Wicomico County Airport ahead of a meeting today.
Also, first responders at the ready. We'll show you the operations at the Lewis Fire Department and when officials there say they could reassess weather conditions.
And flooding creates difficult rescue. We'll show you the major effort it took to reach a medical emergency in Millsboro after roads became impassable. Coast TV News today. We'll be right back.
Now on Coast TV News.
Active ocean. The coastal storm producing rough waves as we brace for the next high tide cycle this afternoon.
Good Monday morning, Delmarva. It's been a rough 24 hours along the coast with wind, rain, and coastal flooding. We are bracing for another round of major coastal flooding this afternoon. We'll time it out and when this nor'easter exits.
Rising Waters responds how crews assisted during a medical emergency in a flooded area of Potnetz and the challenges they faced.
East Coast effects. What neighboring states are experiencing with a system that is causing significant flooding.
This is Coast TV News Today.
Check out this scene in Fenwick Island. We got this from Del. This was just after 2 this morning. It's a good indication of how strong the wind is with those flags, the traffic light, and the rain that was falling.
We're going to take a look further south in Ocean City this morning as we can see active waters there. It doesn't look like rain is coming down at this time, but again, throughout the day, we are not out of this storm just yet.
Yeah, those waters that we're seeing there, Lisa, normally when on a regular day, calm, you don't see that wave action, but we definitely saw that in that live shot, and this is how we start this half hour. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
Time is 6:33, and we have some intense weather systems, and we are not getting through the situation yet.
No, and this is a good reminder to pull out your phone, download the Coast TV News and weather apps, check our socials if you haven't yet, because all of our meteorologists, like Chris Mastrobuono, will be updating you on there in addition to our newscast. So good morning, Chris. You've been busy this morning.
Good morning, Elisa and Matt, and pleasant good morning to you, Delmarva. Yes, we have seen some pretty high winds overnight along our coast, and you can see the wave action continues in Ocean City, Rehoboth, seeing wave upward heights of 7 to as high as 13 feet. So we're going to continue to see beach erosion throughout the day today. Look at some of these peak wind gusts: 57 miles an hour, Indian River Inlet, 55 South Bethany, 52 in Lewis, 48 Dewey Beach, and we even had a gust upwards of 46 in Georgetown and 42 in Fenwick Island. The rainfall hasn't really been all that widespread across the peninsula. It's been pretty confined through Kent and Sussex counties, where we've seen upwards of close to 2 inches in Harbison, Stockley just over 1.5 inches, and then we had over 1 inch in Georgetown and Ellendale, and just shy of 1 inch in Lewis. Quite breezy this morning. We've had some spotty showers, a lot of low-level moisture, wind flow more out of the north instead of the northeast. Gusts upwards of 32 Indian River Inlet, 25 in Ocean City. We're holding at 60 in Rehoboth, 60 Bethany, 58 in Millsboro, and 58 in Seaford. Most of the rain has pushed to our north. We're seeing a few showers pivot in through portions of the midshore in Kent County, and we'll see a few of these wraparound showers throughout the morning and day today. You can see the heaviest and steadiest rain pushing in off the Atlantic and through Long Island and portions of the northeast, as this area of low pressure is just off our coast, and we're going to see it kind of meander off our coast here over the next 24 hours. Plenty of clouds, and we'll continue the shower threat throughout the day today, with winds out of the north gusting as high as 30 to 40 miles an hour. Watching and bracing for that moderate to major coastal flooding as we get into high tide this afternoon, and we'll finally say so long to this nor'easter by Tuesday. We'll start the day with a few showers, but then gradually improve through the afternoon and the evening. We'll talk about some brighter, sunnier times ahead in that full 7-day forecast. Matt.
All right, thank you, Chris. And let's take a look at what's being seen on the roads. Here's Coastal Highway in Dewey Beach. A little bit of traffic there. The road's slick, but everything right there. We not seeing that strong wind as much as we saw in other areas. This is video from moments ago.
And the strong wind gusts have been a serious problem in several areas, including Dewey Beach, with a fire situation.
Yeah, that is where we're going live. CoastTV's Brandon Ferguson is in the area of Carolina Street, and we're learning it was a large fire crews found. Good morning, Brandon.
Matt, this happening on the end of Carolina Street on the ocean side, and this is how far we can get. Dewey Beach police saying right where those lights are, those sirens, that's where this house fire happened. And when we arrived here about an hour ago, the response was much more active with multiple fire agencies here. But as you can look to my right, Rehoboth Beach Volunteer Fire Company responding to this fire. And we're actually going to show you a better angle, some pictures and videos to show you how much damage this fire caused. Dewey Beach police saying that house fully engulfed, and other houses were involved, but we do not know yet to how much extent those damages were. And again, back here on scene, this entire Carolina Street is closed right now to the ocean side. Dewey Beach police saying no one was injured, and a firefighter actually told us here on scene that it was the person's beach house, hence nobody being home. And just take a look at the scene again before we send it back to the studio. A massive response here, and we actually did see a construction equipment and excavator heading towards the house that was fully engulfed. And live in Dewey Beach, Brandon Ferguson, CoastTV News.
Thank you for that live report, Brandon. New this morning, emergency crews in Sussex County were called to assist with a medical emergency Sunday afternoon in a flooded area of Potnet's Cove side. The Indian River Volunteer Fire Company says they used 2 high water utility vehicles to help the Middle Sussex Rescue Squad and Sussex County paramedics reach a patient who could not be accessed because of the flooding you see there.
In case anyone does get stuck due to flooding, rescue crews are on standby in Lewis. This includes members of the Lewis Fire Department, the National Guard, and other rescue teams, including from Newcastle County. They have equipment on the floor, vehicles ready at a moment's notice, and even boats in case they can't get through by car. Bob Murray, the deputy chief of the Lewis Fire Department, says crews are expected to reassess conditions at 11 a.m.
And because of the storm, Lewis says trash services will be delayed. According to the city, there will be no trash pickup today. Those pickups that usually happen today, moving to Tuesday, and Tuesday's pickups are moved to Wednesday. The city says there's also no leaf pickup on Wednesday, October 15th.
Well, this was the scene in New Jersey as locals there are also dealing with the impacts of this nor'easter. As you can see, this community is completely submerged in water as the storm moves up the East Coast. Sidewalks, street signs, fire hydrants, and light poles almost partially underwater.
New this morning, runway construction and airline updates. That's what's on the agenda for the Wicomico County Airport Commission meeting today. And according to the agenda, Breeze Airways' inaugural flight, they're saying that was a big success. Leaders also say cost concerns linked to project delays are under review, and an area with unsuitable soil That's now been stabilized and successfully rebuilt. More information on this and other topics take place at 3 this afternoon. And we still have a lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, Firehouse Open House will tell you when you can learn about fire safety and more in Lewis.
Also ready for Monday Night Football. Washington back home, and they are ready to make a run at first in the NFC East.
And going home early will tell you why the endless summer cruising event in Ocean City had to wrap up sooner than expected. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
Good Monday morning in Ocean City. We are seeing some fog out there, especially in the distance, some low clouds, some mist out there this morning. Very damp start, 61 and breezy start at that. We're seeing winds out of the north gusting upwards of 25 in Ocean City to 32 in Indian River Inland. As I mentioned, some fog in and across Sussex County and low clouds, so use some caution. Take your time on the roads this morning. We're dealing with a lot of roads that are still flooded along Coastal Highway as well as some of our shore communities. But you could see most of the heaviest rain has now pivoted to the north as this area of low pressure spins off our coast, but we will see some wraparound moisture throughout the day today and into the evening. You can see rain chances. We'll see scattered showers over the next 24 hours, but then you see high pressure building in, and we really settle into a nice weather pattern by mid to late week. Congratulations, Chris Tobin, Ocean City, Maryland. You're the winner of our Coast TV weather umbrella. And as always, you can get your latest forecast by dialing the First Alert weather phone. We'll talk more about the high tide and coastal flooding threat this afternoon coming up in my full forecast. Matt.
Okay, Chris. The threat of the big storm caused the 28th annual Endless Summer Cruising to close out earlier than planned in Ocean City. And the video that you're seeing here, this is video that we shot on Thursday. All of Sunday's activities were moved to Saturday, meaning Saturday was the final day of summer cruising. Still was a weekend with plenty of classic cars and hot rods, and this year's event concluded with the Hot Rod and Custom Car Show Awards.
In Georgetown, planners want input from people living in the town on the future of the downtown area. There's one more day to complete a development survey. Town officials say this is to help with growth, improvements, and other community plans. The last day to fill out that survey is tomorrow, October 14th.
Jaden Daniels returned last week for Washington at quarterback, and with the Eagles' recent slide, here's an opportunity for the Burgundy and Gold to return to first place in the NFC East. One extra day of rest following their Week 5 win against the Chargers. Washington back home tonight. They're taking on the suddenly surging Bears. On the ground, they're getting quality production from Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who says he is ready for some football.
I'm definitely excited. National television, everybody's watching, and this stuff we dreamed of since we was little. So I mean, I'm definitely excited, just ready to go out there and do my job.
Bears are returning to the scene of the Hail Mary crime from last year. Kickoff tonight is at 8:15. Yesterday in Baltimore, Ravens managed only 3 points. Rams scored 17. Got an ugly situation developing in Baltimore, and the Ravens, they head into the bye week with a record of 1-5.
Coming up tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network, your game of the night at 4 o'clock, Stephen Decatur takes on James M. Bennett in boys soccer. Then at 10:30, it's the final score. Along with that Decatur-Bennett soccer game, here's what else you can expect on DSN+. At 5:30, Crisfield travels to Snow Hill in boys soccer. Also at 5:30, Kent Island faces Easton, also in boys soccer. And at 6 p.m., Indian River hosts Delmarva Christian in boys soccer. And if you're having a rough week, well, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com/signup and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday. And here's what you can look forward to this afternoon on Coast Life at 4 p.m.
Hope you had a great weekend. If you tune in and join us at 4 o'clock, here's what's coming your way on Coast Life. We are talking Bark on the Boards. It's one of the biggest adoption events of the year when it comes to the puppies and the kitties and all the great activities that are going to be coming your way that weekend. We're also going to be highlighting a special individual, not only her sense of fashion and what she can provide you for the community, but also checking out her Zen garden space. And we're also going to be talking a little bit of hooting and a little bit of hollering. All of that fun and so much more is headed your way today at 4 on Coast Life. We'll see you there.
Well, it's definitely a large coffee kind of morning on Delmarva as we deal with wet roads, flooded areas across the region, wraparound showers through the day today. Breezy, highs in the low to mid 60s. We'll talk about coastal flooding threat this afternoon, and when we'll say so long to this nor'easter. My full forecast is coming up next.
The time is now 6:48, and we are taking a live look outside at Laurel this morning. Chris, it has been a busy day along the coast for you already, and it's only 6:48, so a lot of people are checking in to see what the weather is like on our coast.
Yeah, it's a Monday, and it's a pretty nasty start to our Monday. We're seeing damp conditions. The winds continue to howl at the coast. Now, the good news, if there's any, at this hour, it's that the worst of the winds and rain is behind us, but we are still going to be dealing with coastal flooding issues through the day today. You can see the rough surf here in Ocean City, 61 degrees. Tremendous beach erosion taking place over the last 24 hours. Winds out of the north at about 22, but gusting upwards of 32. Indian River Inlet, we're at 29-mile-an-hour gusts in Georgetown. We're seeing the wind shift more out of the north as this area of low pressure is just to our east. We're at 62 in Lewis, 57 Milford, and 58 in Laurel. We're dealing with some low clouds, misty conditions, so use some caution out there through Georgetown and into Ocean City. You can see we're pretty dry as far as steadier rain. That is lifted to the north. We're seeing a few showers pivot into the northern midshore, Kent and Newcastle County, but the heaviest moisture you can see coming in off the Atlantic like a fire hose, and this area of low pressure just to our east will kind of meander off the coast over the next 24 hours before finally exiting. You can see wave height 16 feet off the Jersey coast to 9 feet off our coast here on Delmarva. Coastal flood warnings continue for coastal Kent and coastal Sussex through 8 o'clock tonight. That's due in part for the high tide cycle this afternoon. We have a coastal flood warning still for about 8 a.m. to the south here for Accomack as well as Worcester County. Gale warnings are up through this morning as well. Minor flooding along the bay as we see that wind shift out of the north, and that coastal flood advisory is up through 2 a.m. Tuesday. So there's the concern, moderate to major coastal flooding through the afternoon high tide cycle today. So continue to use caution, never drive down a flooded road. And there you see we're expecting high tide through 318 there, Bowers Beach, 238 into Lewis, 252 Indian River Inlet. We're expecting some minor coastal flooding there in Ocean City. Now, as far as your forecast goes for today, highs right around the lower 60s with a few wraparound showers through the day today. You can see winds gusting upwards of 30 to 40 through the afternoon, gusting more around 25, 30 into the overnight, but a breezy Tuesday. Look at that, gusts upwards of 35, 40 at the coast. As this area of low pressure pulls away, we will see those winds really subside into the day on Wednesday. You can see that wraparound moisture throughout the day today and into the evening, so the rain won't be all that heavy, more of the nuisance variety, but we finally get the cloud cover out of here by your Wednesday. Rainfall totals on the order of about a half an inch to a quarter of an inch over the next day. And there's that area of low pressure exiting. We're at 64 with on and off showers. Breezy conditions through the evening and overnight 56. And then aside from a few spotty showers and sprinkles Tuesday, we'll see the improving conditions by the afternoon. Sunny skies by Wednesday, 71. And then look at that cool air Thursday, Friday. Sunshine. Start the day on Friday in the 30s. And then next weekend looking pretty nice with temperatures in the 70s. Elisa.
Thank you, Chris. This was the scene in Norfolk, Virginia. Cars in deep water, lots of flooding. As you can see, much of that area mirrors what we are experiencing here at home. We will continue to track this storm as we do all storms. Be sure to download our weather app and stay with us on all of our social platforms.
And after this weather situation calms down, we are looking forward to a full evening of fun at the Lewis Fire Department. The agency says it's hosting its 6th annual open house. This is on Thursday, October 16th from 4 to 8 p.m. And according to organizers, there will be a children's design contest, live demonstrations, and equipment displays. People can enjoy music and food from local restaurants. The open house is taking place at Station 2.
The time is now 6:52, and we are going to check in with our coastal pets of the day.
Yeah, I got plural here. Today's coastal pets of the day. Looking to get outside for some fresh air. On your screen, we have Harry and Benny. You can see they're out there enjoying a nice walk, but probably opting to stay inside today because of the rain. These two pups, we were being told, embrace nature. Any chance to get outside they can get. And Harry and Benny were submitted to us by Emily and Lincoln.
They look like they're living a good life there, being pushed around in a stroller, and we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
That's where that QR code is. Scan that, get your friends to us here, and then watch weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
It is 6:55 and it's time for the things you need to know before we go. Emergency crews in Sussex County were called to assist with a medical emergency Sunday afternoon in a flooded area of Potnet's Cove side. The Indian River Volunteer Fire Company says it was too high of water for utility vehicles, so they had to have the Mid-Sussex Rescue Squad and the Sussex County paramedics reach a patient that couldn't be assessed because of that flooding.
In Dewey Beach, here's what the area looked like at the first high tide on Sunday afternoon. You can see some back roads of the town were almost invisible due to the severe flooding. This is at Reed Avenue, and water overflowing in the backyard. That forced a number of cars to turn around.
And it's 6:56, so we are going to take another look at our forecast before you head out the door this morning.
Yeah, we're keeping track of the time here, Chris. We're still about 7 hours away from that next high tide.
Yeah, that's really our main concern for the day today. Since the highest winds are behind us as well as the rain, but that high tide coming in here this afternoon could produce moderate to major tidal flooding along the Delaware coastline this afternoon. A lot of clouds this morning through the afternoon, a few wraparound showers through the latter part of the afternoon into the evening with highs right around the lower 60s. We have a yellow alert in play for the nor'easter continuing. We'll see a few showers to start our day on Tuesday. Otherwise, another cloudy day. Clouds are going to be a bit stubborn to leave as this nor'easter finally weakens and exits. The sunshine returns and we make a run at the lower 70s by Wednesday, but it's a brief warm-up because we're going to see temperatures drop into the lower 60s for highs, but plenty of sunshine, and we're going to settle into a rather dry, calm weather pattern as we round out the week. Even could begin with a few 30s by Friday morning, and right now next weekend looking pretty nice with temperatures rebounding back into the lower to mid 70s. Elisa.
All right, thank you, Chris, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News Today.
And the Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m.
Then we'll be back for Coast TV News midday at 11.
And for even more news and coverage, you can count on download our Coast TV News and weather apps. Have a great Monday morning, everybody.